Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, where I am very happy to have my guest here today because I have waited to have her on for so long. LaVon Wells joins me. She's a life and grief coach and a good friend.
Yes,
it's terrific to have you here.
Good to be here.
I got to tell you though, I'm blown away by the color and the hair. This is wonderful. What'd you do? What's this all about?
Well, my daughter passed away 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was her birthday, October 13th, and I thought to myself, this year I don't want to cry. This year I want to truly celebrate her life and my experience and my growth from that experience. And so I thought, what would an 18-year-old like to do? Get a tattoo or color their hair? And I thought, I'm too scared to tattoo, so I will color my hair.
And our mamas would probably not be too happy to get a tattoo.
No.
Right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
even at this age, my mom is still in her room. She's like, you better not get a tattoo.
Better not get a tattoo.
If I ever find out. So,
Not there's anything wrong with it.
No. But for my mom, there is. But the hair color is a great idea.
Yeah.
This is terrific.
And I went out on the for her birthday with a bunch of amazing friends, and we just had a good time.
Well, I always know when I see some colorful hair, it's you. I can pick you out of a crowd, which is awesome. But I can also pick you out of a crowd too because crowds gather around you. So if I look in the center, I'm going to find you. And they do that, I think, for a very specific reason. You bring a lot of solace and help to people. And I want to talk about that a little bit because you've done that for me. You've done it for so many people.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's the secret of that? What is it that you're touching in this world, this crazy world that we're in right now?
I'm just staying in tune, tapping in, and staying focused on that love component.
Yeah.
And I really love people, and people can be, all kinds of people.
Yeah.
I just really enjoy them, and I really love them, and I feel like I was born with the purpose of bringing comfort to people. It's just one of those things that I absolutely love. And it's natural. It's not something I'm trying to do. It just is.
Right.
I
mean, life is hard. That was. I think it's. I hope I'm saying it right. I think dukkha is the word among the Buddhists. That life is hard. It's just that's the way it is. It's bound to be that way. And figuring out how to navigate that and finding both joy and understanding the sadness of life. That's a difficult, they say it's walking the razor's edge.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk about that for a minute. What are some of the keys to trying to find your way down that path?
I think first of all, focus on yourself, go inward. And a lot of times we're told to go outside of ourselves and be of service and do all these different things. Yes, that's awesome, that's wonderful, that's cool.
Right.
But until you do that internal work, it's gonna always seem like it's hard, it's a challenge, it's difficult. And I truly believe after so many years of knowing what pain is like and experiencing fear and experiencing all these different challenges, that we don't have to necessarily learn it the hard way anymore. I believe that we've bought into that system where it has to be hard, it has to be difficult. And I'm not saying that it isn't, but there is a different way of looking at it and a different way of processing it. And the best way to do that is to go inward, self-evaluation, and just be with yourself and truly be your best friend. And show up for you.
Show up for you.
Yeah.
People don't.
No, we don't have time. We don't want to look in the mirror. That's why a lot of times people are out here in the world and they're pointing fingers and they're judging and they're going through all these different commotions because they're unwilling to look at self. And that's so important. And
instead, they sometimes favor kind of a poor me attitude instead. So now looking for someone else to fill the void that they need to do on their own. Right?
And it's just not fair to the other person to assume that their job is to make you feel a certain way. And so I really do my best, as far as I'm not perfect, but I do my best with living a responsible and an accountable life as best I can. There's power in that,
There is.
And then there's freedom in allowing people to be who they are, be where they're at, and know that that's their perfect journey in the moment. And you may not relate with it or connect with it. And even if you walk away from it, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with walking away in love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to continue this conversation. We'll take a quick break, come back,
Okay.
talk a little more about being authentic to yourself, taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Those are important topics to be sure. So we'll continue our conversation with Levon Wells right after these messages. You're back with us here on the Mountain Morning Show, and we've been talking with our friend Levon Wells Sandberg, and she's a life and grief coach, and we talk about both of these because I think people definitely need coaching in here and now for sure, right now, right?
Yeah, in the present.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Sometimes is that we kind of get caught up in future thinking, and certainly most people get caught up in past thinking, right? Talk about that for a minute. What is the challenge? How does someone really approach being here and being grounded?
Ooh, centered and grounded.
Yeah, there you go.
Here now, it's quite a challenge to do, but it's totally possible, and people are doing it every day. The best method, I think the greatest method, is through mindfulness and through meditation. And meditation, I know people say meditation is this, is that, but the simple version is breathing, relaxing, and just being still and focused on a thing.
Yeah.
One thing.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to go
be your
to
breathing.
not thinking of nothing,
Absolutely.
which some people do, and that works too. I do that one. But thinking of something important and really being mindful of that in those moments.
Yes.
That's just as that. In fact, that may be for some people better.
Yes, absolutely. And first thing in the morning, setting that intention, even if it's 5 minutes, even if you're laying in the bed, just lay there. Don't
Right.
get up, don't put your feet on the ground until you do those breaths or you do that mini meditation. But it's just simply breathing, focusing. And if there is a challenge that they're going through, that someone's going through, focus on the end result you'd like to see, or focus on that word. And the word might be, today I'm having issues with trust. This has been going on. So that meditation or that focus, the word is trust. Just simply visualizing it, seeing it, saying it to yourself, that's your meditation.
Wow.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's simple.
So picking it from those things, I guess that's the challenge for some people, is to figure out what is the root, what is the need.
Most people don't know what they want, and that is the greatest challenge.
They don't know what they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
They think they want a little of everything, and they'll somehow make them happy.
There's confusion.
Right?
Yes.
Oh my, I like that. So
Yeah.
getting down to the root
Yeah, absolutely.
is what we're talking about here. That by itself is grounding and
Doesn't take a long time.
Okay. And then when we're dealing with the hard parts of life, the grief. Now, you've known grief in a way that no one should.
Yes.
Losing a child is the hardest I can think of anything.
Yes.
Talk about what someone, what are some of these steps in grief that maybe are not so typical as we talk about. We know the phases of grief, people go through those, there's no doubt. But what is the navigating through that?
I created literally 3 supporting ways of being when someone's going through the grieving process. There really is no right or wrong way to grieve.
Right.
There is a healthy and an unhealthy way of grieving. Absolutely, we see it all the time. But one of the things that I talk to people about is, number 1, breathe. Number 2, go ahead and grieve. Feel the emotion.
Right.
Be there. And number 3, simply live. Now, when I say live, I don't mean get up out of the house and go party. If you want to do that, that's great. But I mean live and acknowledge every action that you're taking as a way of living. So that means if you're in the bed, cover it up with a sheet because you're depressed, you're sad, you're going through that grieving process, give yourself the opportunity to feel that, and then crawl yourself on up out of that bed, go into the kitchen, sweep your floor. That's living. Wash your dishes, that's living.
Yeah.
Any action, brushing your teeth, basic things. And it allows them not to stay in the space of being, step into that space and stay in that space of deep depression and deep sadness. So come up for air. You're gonna go through the grieving process.
Yeah, come up for air.
Yeah, but come up for air. Come up for air.
I wish we had so much more time.
I
Can you come
know.
back soon?
Yes,
we got
absolutely.
a lot more to talk about.
Absolutely.
Clearly. Your website?
www.levonwells.com, and I do have an amazing holiday special for people that would love to sit with me and have a conversation.
All right. Well, I'm sure there's people out there who need to have those conversations,
Yeah.
and everyone needs a little bit of help. That is where a counselor a grief coach can really help you, a life coach, and that's when I think of that, I think of Levon. I hope you do too. More to come here on the Mountain Morning Show as we jump into the second hour right after these messages.